income tax session. So I request you to occupy. The second chief guest of the day for this session is on income GST. So who can be the better person than GST Commissioner? So we have with us Radhe Shyam Sharma. 4 months back he is retired, and I was so much fortunate when he was a commissioner. He used to come to my most of the programs on a phone call. Thank you very much, sir. I welcome you. He is a retired GST Commissioner. Then next we have, naturally if the chief guest is there, our format is about the panelist. So we cannot do without panelist. So therefore we have in income tax 2 stalwarts. One, of course, our own person who doesn't remember him or does not recollect him. That is none other than CA Vimal Punamiya. Vimal Punamiya and myself, Niyar Jambusaria, Tarun Gia, Ismail Sonawala, we are the team. We used to go for, certified course on income tax, cooperative empanelment. So that is how relationship is. We used to go for the various cooperative seminars. Then we have on income tax, Advocate Ajay Singh. विमल पुनेमी तो ट्रिब्यूनल तक जा रहे हैं, बट हाई कोर्ट में कौन लेके जाएंगे? नेचुरली एडवोकेट चाहिए. So we have got advocate who practice in purely on tribunal and high court. So Advocate Ajay Singh, give him a round of applause. And he is the editor of a All India Tax Practitioner Federation. You may be aware. He is the editor of the journal, and I think who can be the better person than him? So thank you very much. And then of course for again GST, who doesn't remember or who cannot collect, CA, our own friend Naresh Sheth. Naresh Sheth has been always an instrument and always a motivating person, and whenever I call him, he immediately goes through the diary and tells me yes, possible or not possible. So Naresh bhai, thank you very much. And then we have another stalwart who is young, energetic, and wants to be coming near to all these stalwarts. None other than Sanket Shah. He is from Nasik. So I welcome him, and I think we are through now. So this is how the session has been done. And of course we have our coordinator from Bangalore. You may be knowing Vinay Tyagraj. I have not introduced you. So Vinay Tyagraj is the co-editor of Marera Practice Manual, and he is the, of course, RERA consultant. Across India we do a lot of programs, and we have with us, please sir, welcome. You have come at an appropriate time. He is my close friend from Andheri, and I have such a high regards from him. CA Piyush Chajed. सर आप ऐसे आए हैं, इनकम टैक्स, डायरेक्ट टैक्स हमारा सेंट्रल कमेटी का चेयरमैन है. सेंट्रल we have 32 members. Every member is given one committee to chair, and he is heading our direct tax committee. And his father is such a stalwart person, SP Chajed, CH SP Chajed, मुस्टैच वाला है, और बच्चे लोग को बहुत डांटते हैं और बहुत प्यार करते. और ऐसे जब प्रेसिडेंट थे, यू बिलीव मी, जब प्रेसिडेंट थे, he had come to Mumbai for one marriage function. I had a seminar on the next day. I called him, सर मुझे आपका सेमिनार में इनवाइट करना है, वो भी वसई में. ही इज स्टेइंग एट जू. बोला कि शाम को मैं फ्लाइट से आ जाऊँगा 10 बजे, आप आ जाओ. 10 बजे घर में गए, ये तो तब पढ़ रहे थे, और जस्ट CA किया था शायद, जस्ट he had completed CA. So it was a warm welcome. The question is very simple. He had come to attend the family function. I requested him one day in advance or going home. मैं रोया, सर आप जैसे लोग मुझे आके थोड़ा सा मदद करिए, because many people think when I do seminars, they think that I am advertising and marketing, and that is the misconception, and lot of complaints have come to the institute against me, and therefore you need to come and demonstrate that no, I am not doing some illegal things. And he said, रमेश तू मेरा छोटा भाई है. ये वर्ड था, तू मेरा छोटा भाई है. यदि छोटा भाई को कोई संकट है और इमोशनली आप, कभी का बात है 97 का, जब ही वॉज ए प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूट. तो मैं जब घर में गया, बिलीव मी, कैन यू इमेजिन, ही सेड रमेश मेरा फैमिली फंक्शन है, मैं लेट में जाऊंगा, लेकिन तू मेरा भाई है, छोटा भाई है, तेरे को संकट आया है और तुम लगता है कि कल प्रोग्राम यदि मैं नहीं आता तो नहीं करेगा, और तू मेरे को राम बोल रहा है, तू मेरा लक्ष्मण है, मैं आता हूँ. तो ही केम फॉर द सेमिनार and to the Andheri, from Andheri to Vasai, and he skipped his marriage function for which he had come Mumbai, and then 11 o'clock, 11:30 he completed and went. What I am trying to say, he said in that seminar, which is very important for you to understand. उन्होंने अपना opening remark बोला क्या? If a chartered accountant is practicing, these are his words, I am just quoting. If a chartered accountant, because many chartered accountants came, felicitated and all, he said, if a chartered accountant is practicing, it's equally important for him to demonstrate what he's doing. And that can be done only through the knowledge disseminating seminar. And when Mr. Ramesh Prabhu came yesterday in the night to me and said that I am disseminating the information, there is some cold current going on in the fraternity, I want to remove that misunderstanding, and what he is doing is great, and I salute him. These are his words, and that encouraged me thereafter not to stop. Thereafter, so many seminars, so many programs which I am, even today, a lot of complaints are going to the institute against me. Believe me, you may not be knowing. Saying what? ये इधर प्रोग्राम कर रहा है, मेरा कार्ड में, एसोसिएशन कार्ड में सीए रमेश प्रभु लिखता है, मार्केटिंग कर रहा है, एडवर्टाइज. They call me, president, say this is the thing. I said, am I done wrong? No. What I am saying is, please proactive, do lot of programs, disseminate the information to the people as to what you can do, and that is the word given by your father. So I so much respect him. And we are coming from the same place, Andheri. And he comes to my office, I go to his office, we share some clients also. So we have commercial relation also, networking relation also. So he is the chairman presently. Last time, you know, when Sunit Patodia expired, and in Bipol he got elected. So give him a round of applause. And I am following his path. He is the direct central council member. Many of the people are saying, सेंट्रल काउंसिल में जाने तो स्टडी सर्कल में जाओ, ब्रांच में जाओ, फिर रीजनल काउंसिल में जाओ, फिर सेंट्रल काउंसिल में जाओ. But he has broken all the record and he got elected in the central council. Give him a round of applause. Now he is heading chairman of direct tax committee. Out of 32 members, he is heading that, and any issue related to direct tax committee, I think we can approach him, we can WhatsApp him, and he is available to redress our issues. Please believe me, there are two types of people. One who says, मैं बाद में बताऊंगा करूंगा. He is the person who takes your complaint and through the committee represents to the government. So that difference is there. Please do connect him. Piyush Chajad. Welcome, sir. Thank you. Now over to the session. This session, during the tea break and lunch, I got a lot of feedback. What is the feedback? They said, sir, आप session बहुत अच्छा किया, experts को सब लेके आए, but we need some presentation about the session. If there is no presentation about the session, we get lost. You had done 3 programs, 4 programs, we understand. You had Zoom meeting, you have given the notes, we did not get time. So request was, sir, that there should be presentation. So then I requested Radhesham Sharma ji, sir, if you don't mind, GST का दिले आप आज अध्यक्ष के रूप में आए हो, बट आपका नॉलेज पीपीटी के माध्यम से यदि हो सकता है. ही वॉज काइंड इनफ टू गेट द पीपीटी फ्रॉम हिज ऑफिस ऑन द ईमेल, एंड टुडे initially he will give a presentation on GST related to redevelopment and real estate transaction. Thereafter we will have a question answer. Similarly, other things. Before this, of course, we have a privilege of having Piyush Chajad ji. Sir, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ramesh ji, for your kind words and remembering, of course, which is a blessing for me always. Dignitaries on the dais, I could say Vimal ji, I don't know, Sanjay ji, Ajay Singh ji, of course Naresh Seth ji I know, so I'm just forgetting. Then Radhesham ji and Ramesh Prabhu ji, thank you very much for inviting me over here. So I took this opportunity, I will not be fair, I would not say lie. There was a direct tax committee national conference happening today in Bhayandar on direct tax for 2 days. And I had to speak there on 44 AD and 44 ADA. So I was there, I finished my session, and I was been told that there is a beautiful residential refresher course is happening, led by Ramesh Prabhuji, whom I regard a lot, as he has already said, we are also working together on a lot of projects. And we share the office also very close to by, so I thought I'll take this opportunity. And I'm happy to note, I can see two very important mentors over here who are sitting. One is Naresh Seth ji and one is Vimal Punya ji, whom I adore a lot. And I've learned during my tenure a lot from them. One is expert in direct tax, one is expert in indirect taxes. So it's a great pleasure. Very shortly, because if I'm here and as a chairman of the direct tax committee, I'll just take it to your 2 or 3 minutes, not wasting time which is already scheduled. Importantly, you would have seen, of course, that is already on social media. We have just now come with an implementation guide on division in Form 3CD, which happened in month of March. So my request to you is please do look into it. It covers all the issue in relation to 43B clause H. As you are aware, there is a new amendment in regard to disallowance for payments to MSME. That has been covered very well. And as I always say that whenever some publication is issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, it has an authority attached to it. It is actually to ring fence you. So whatever, if you take your decision based on what is written in the guidance note or on the implementation guide, you can always ring fence if you are put to a question that how this audit was performed or whether there was any negligence. You can always fall upon say that I have followed what is the publication of Institute is saying. So please do look into it. It is released already and it is in the website also. If you want hard copy, you can also take it. Apart from that, on the council meeting of 2nd and 3rd, we have also approved guidance note on audit of charitable institutions, which is very important, audit in Form 10B and 10BB. As you are aware, that implementation guide was issued last year. This year we have converted it to a guidance note, because guidance note is more of a mandatory nature, whereby if you are not complying with, auditor is expected to document that what are the alternate auditor procedures which you have followed. That would be released. It is approved by 2nd and 3rd of council meeting, but we are awaiting the minutes to be approved. Once the minute is approved in a day or two, even that guidance note would be released and it would be available to you. For the benefit of members, and because Sanjay ji is there, in fact this year we had a pre-budget meeting on 24th of April with the chairman CBDT, Nitin Gupta ji, and we gave a 99-point suggestions to them, and we had a 90 minutes individual presentation. Generally we are called along with other associations. This time we had 1-to-1 presentations, wherein 20-30 presentations were covered, which included certain amendments in 43B subclause H, bringing the tax rate to, bringing disallowance to 30% or giving a time up to due date of filing return, reducing tax on 115 BBE, which had come for purpose of demonetization and it is no more required. So these were the suggestions. As a follow-up, the CBDT requested us that can you give us a justification, and therefore on 27th of June there was a follow-up meeting along with Chamber of Tax Consultants, wherein another pre-budget memorandum was given to them, and we are quite hopeful that a lot of suggestions would be accepted, hopeful. And apart from that, whatever representations we get from the individual members, we keep on making a weekly representations to CBDT, so that that can be compiled on a weekly basis of the individual members. It can be given to CBDT, and on a quarterly basis this year, when Nitin Gupta ji was a chairman, of course he has relinquished his office on 30th of June, and now Mr. Ravi Agarwal ji has joined as a CBDT chairman. But they have promised that on a quarterly basis, let us review what are the representations that are coming from the members of the institute, because they ultimately represent the SSC's concerns. And on a quarterly basis, we will review it. If it could be accepted, it would be implemented. If it could not be accepted, there would be reasons to it. It's not necessary what we are representing should be accepted in all, but definitely we'll look into it and we'll also try to resolve that, or we'll give you reasons why we are not accepting. So you can go back to your members and state why this has not been accepted, or why the reasoning for the justification is not sufficient to make a necessary appropriate amendments to it. So these are 2 or 3 important initiatives which we thought. Lastly, but not taking without time, my congrats to Ramesh Prabhuji once again for organizing such a wonderful program and covering very important topic of RERA, income tax, cooperative society and GST. I think so. ये सबका सम्मेलन है. It's all the most important laws. I am sure this is more specific from a real estate industry, which I am sure there would be hundreds of queries coming up, and we have a stalwart speakers. I am sure it would be a great benefit. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much. Have a happy learning and enjoy today's. Thanks.
On behalf of all our participants and the guests, thank you. Now over to Radhesham Sharma ji.
First of all, I will thank Ramesh Prabhuji for inviting me here and allotting me a chapter, one topic which is very close to my heart, which has been when I was in service at that time also. And on that topic, I have delivered my lectures and opinions at various public platforms. Now there have been some further improvement from that time. The topic is that now we are dealing with redevelopment of housing societies. Mostly it is housing societies, but it can be individual freehold land also, societies built on freehold land, or it can be any individual owner who is as a landowner promoter. So there also redevelopment can take place. I will quickly go through my presentation, and thereafter we can have question answer session. You can direct your questions to me also and to all the panelists who are sitting here as well. I have named it tripartite development agreements. Actually, it is not exactly three parties involved, but wherever the societies are built on leased lands, it may be Mahada or any town planning authorities on whose land the housing societies are built. So for redevelopment, their NOC or their concurrence is required. That's why I have told it, I have termed it tripartite. Basically, it is a bipartite agreement only between the developer and the housing society. So what are the relevant acts and legislations? Transfer of Property Act, Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act, Housing Bylaws, Ownership Flats Act, RERA, Apartment Act, etc. Now, see, our basic question is that the GST department has been trying to levy the rehab portion of any building which goes into redevelopment right from service tax time. In service tax times, matter went to court. Finally, in the Vasantha Green case, it is pending with the Supreme Court. So in service tax time, no final clarity had emerged. But in that time, now in the next slides, we'll discuss those cases. Why I have started with the definition that in any act, the basic thing is the definition, the terms. And me being a lawyer, earlier I was in the department but I always held the law degree. So I could analyze those terms used in a particular enactment from a lawyer's point of view. So we try to find relief for our clients. Suppose the housing societies, we have to find a relief that how these housing societies, when they go for redevelopment, they should not be subjected to the extra burden of GST, particularly for the original members. When the sale component is sold to new buyers, they will suffer GST. Nobody is objecting to that. So I have taken resort to definition of business. It is available in the law. So further relief from the GST levy will come from this definition. What is the definition of business? So there should be a consideration. There should be two parties. Like consideration, to levy GST, the department has to satisfy the ingredients of supply. What the housing society is offering to the developer? It is the property, the land and the building which is erected on that. They give their keys to the developers and say, and they move out from that apartment and that house. So that building, which is an immovable property, plus what they are giving is the FSI, which comes with the building. That FSI goes to the developer for further constructions. So these are the definitions. We will not waste much of our time in that. Section 7, scope of supply. So that is very important, where these three ingredients should be there. There should be, one should be a supplier, one should be a recipient. There should be a consideration, and it should be in the course of furtherance of business. So that from that ingredient, I have tried to safeguard the society, that when a society, particularly those societies which are not on freehold land, those who are on the leased land by Mahada or any town planning authority, they have to move out after 30 years. There is a condition in MOFA that after 30 years, building will be subjected to a structural audit. And if the building is declared as unsafe or dilapidated, then by operation of law, the society members have to vacate that house. So whether this activity can be termed as furtherance of business, that is the question which I have tried to put in my presentation. And for your information, during my tenure as Commissioner Audit, I had even written to my higher-ups in the department, saying that this kind of development where the society is ordered by Mahada or any town planning authority that you have to vacate now, your building is dangerous, it is dangerous to live. In such a condition, the element of business, furtherance of business is absent. So this kind of development should not be subjected to GST. And then along with the definitions, these three schedules are very important. Schedule 1, which are the activities which will be treated as supply even without consideration. Because what we are saying, that these rehab portion, there is no consideration because builder is not charging any money to the original society members who have handed over possession to the builder for redevelopment. So there is no bill raised on them and no money is being collected from them. So there is no consideration. Schedule 1 gives a list of activities which will be treated as a supply even if made without consideration. So in all these 4 categories, permanent transfer of disposal of business assets, supply of goods or services, supply of goods by a principal to his agent, import of service, on all these, this component, that supply of developmental rights by the housing society to a developer, this does not fall under Schedule 1. Then there is Schedule 2, which are the activities which will be treated as supply, and third is the transaction which shall be treated as a supply of goods, neither as a supply of goods nor a supply of services. So there the serial number 5, sale of land and subject to clause B of paragraph 5 of Schedule 2, sale of building. So in the defense of housing societies, we are trying to say, or rather I am trying to say, that it is a exchange under a barter system. The members of the society, the owners, they hand over their keys to the developer and say कि भाई हम बाहर जा रहे हैं, हम मकान खाली करके जा रहे हैं, जो भी कंसिडरेशन है, और उसके बाद जब बिल्डर बना के देता है उनको, तो ओसी के बाद ही देता है. It is not that the unit is handed over before OC. So what is being handed over by the builder back to the original member is an immovable property, and what the original member gave to the builder was also immovable property along with the FSI. So that amounts to exchange of property on a barter basis. So there is no supply. These are high legal points which I think those who are trained in law, they will understand, or a judge or a tribunal member will understand. Now definitions under MOFA and bylaws is also important. What is a flat, what is apartment, common areas. Then section 6A is very important. It is under section 6A where this 30 years condition is, and every building which has completed 30 years has to go through the structural audit. And if the planning authority finds that the building is dangerous, unfit to reside or likely to fall, then the redevelopment of the building shall commence. So in the earlier session, some question answer was going on where it was being asked that whether before 30 years we can go for redevelopment or not, and whether it is compulsory or not. So some panel member had probably given an answer that it is not compulsory, but in my view it is not so. After 30 years, every building has to go for a structural audit, and once it is declared unsafe, then the society members have no choice. They have to go for redevelopment. So there I am trying to say, Ramesh Prabhuji will understand what is the logic behind this, that when it is under operation of law that I have to go for redevelopment, so I am not in furtherance of any business. It is one time event. आज 30 इयर्स के बाद मेरी बिल्डिंग टूट रही है, 40 इयर्स के बाद, वो आगे बनने के बाद हो सकता है और 50 साल चलेगी, तो ये कोई बिजनेस तो है नहीं. सो व्हेन इट इज नॉट ए बिजनेस, देन सप्लाई की कंडीशन फुलफिल नहीं होती है, इसलिए उस पर जीएसटी नहीं लगना चाहिए. दैट इज द लाइन ऑफ आर्गुमेंट.
Honorable High Court has held in number of judgments that redevelopment is not a regular business of the society, and therefore the dispute between a member and the society regarding the redevelopment does not fall under section 91 of the Cooperative Society Act because it is not the regular business of the society. Therefore, I fully agree with you, and these judgments, there are about hundreds of judgments. Wherever people have gone to cooperative court, they have rejected the dispute on redevelopment, saying that it is not coming in the fall of the business of the society. So therefore, you are right. I think we can rely on those judgments, of 100 judgments, and we can quote also. Yeah.
Thank you for enlightening me also, because regarding these judgments, from this angle I was not very clear, but other judgments which I will come to the next slide, where in Cheda Housing and others it was given that even the TDR or FSI, which now the department is saying that they are supply of developmental rights, those are also not supply, because the court judgment said that they are benefits arising out of land, immovable property. So any TDR is what? It is just an extra area which you can develop. So it is an immovable property, so it is outside of the purview of GST. Those judgments are there, but still in the GST regime, new amendments came in 2019, and through a number of notifications, 3/19, 4/19, 5/19, government has tried to bring these societies or anybody who is a landowner promoter within the GST net, saying that you are also a promoter. But in this particular case, where the society is ordered by MAHADA or any town planning authority that you have to go for redevelopment, whether an element of business exists there or not. If not, that today or tomorrow, whenever these issues will go to the high courts, certainly relief will come. But so far in GST regime, no matter has gone up to the high court on this issue. Earlier service tax regime cases are pending, but in this, because GST regime only recently, last 1 year, so-called notices has been issued, then they are need to be adjudicated, then they need to be appealed, and after that, matter of high court will arise. So, quickly going through the slide, I have tried to explain it in the context of those housing societies which are built on MAHADA buildings, but the logic remains the same for all other societies also. So, housing society is what? Housing society is a non-taxable person, non-business entity, but it becomes a taxable person depending upon the maintenance amount. 7,500 per flat, more than that, and 20 lakhs more than that, then it becomes a taxable person. Within that, it is not a taxable person. It is a non-business entity, it is not for profit, no furtherance of business, only housing needs of members. It allots shares in the building to members after formation of society, and is a body corporate. Next. Who is a promoter? Promoter is a taxable person from the day one. He has to take registration. He is a business entity for profit. He sells commercial residential units to new buyers. Cost of land, of course, it is deducted. He pays to MAHADA or any town planning authority for the FSI or TDR on behalf of society. Society doesn't pay. In every agreement, society says that whoever is developer will pay to the consenting authority, town planning authority, and under reverse charge, they will take this thing. They will pay. What I have tried to say, if you the last third you see, under a barter system, the developer gives back property to original society members as per development agreement after CCOC. No monetary consideration. So now department has been terming it as a free flats. That rehab portion, department terms it as a free flat. Why free flat? Because there is no monetary consideration. But actually, society members have handed over their immovable property for demolish and then further. So it is a barter system, agreement of exchange of immovable property. That is the main logic on which I am trying to build up, that why GST liability will not arise on rehab portion. On the sale component, it will be there. Again, certain activities of housing societies, this housing society, what it does, in what way government is trying to say that it is also a business entity. But it is supplying land, that is vacant possession of existing flats for demolition and subsequent reconstruction. then it supplies FSI, TDR purchased from Mahada or any town planning authority, or from the open market also if they can buy. Does not pay directly but through promoter. Both supplies are not taxable supplies. One is immovable property and another is an activity not in furtherance of business but only meeting housing needs of members. Then the last point is that FSI, TDR, additional FSI also being benefits arising out of land are also immovable property as per various judicial pronouncements, which will come in the next slide. Now, in a tripartite agreement, if Mahada, society and developer is there, then which of the three parties can be considered as a supplier? These are very details of the legal point. If tomorrow any fight arises before the High Court, then these points will be discussed. For today's seminar, I think we will not go into much detail of these legal points. I will quickly summarize, then thereafter you can raise your questions. Next is also what is the role of developer, what is the actually his supply, what he supply, what it gets, and how he does. He only after OC or CC he can give the keys of the flats to the original members. So again it is a immovable property. Notifications I have tried to quickly analyze that in all those audit paras or wherever so-called notices have been issued in GST regime on the free flat portion or rehab portion, one notification is being relied upon which is 4/2018. 4/2018 is basically when both the parties are suppliers. I am trying to say that housing society is not a supplier because it is not in furtherance of business.
Correct.
So 4/2018 is not applicable there. Then these notifications came 3/2019. This brought major change in the original notification 11/2017, which is even today it is the principal notification for rate of taxation, for the rate. There are three basic notifications on services in GST, 11/2017, 12/2017 and 13. And these are the amending notifications. So in this amending notification, in present day's notification, if you say, it talks about two things. One is a developer promoter and another is a landowner promoter. So certainly if on the rehab portion any tax is to be levied, then housing society must be treated as a landowner promoter. But here that notification says that landowner promoter can sell his portion to the open market, which is not the case here. In rehab portion, I am only getting for my own use. I am not getting for selling it, isn't it? Because original agreement itself says that you will get for your flat, which was 301, in the new building, your number may be 1201. Your area may increase, but it is not for immediate sale. In future, you can sell once you occupy the house. So the argument there is that landowner promoter की जो डेफिनेशन है उसमें हाउसिंग सोसाइटी नहीं बैठता है. क्यों नहीं बैठता है कि लैंड ओनर, ये एक्चुअली नोटिफिकेशन जो इशू हुआ है ये पूरे जो भी लोग इस पे फाइट कर रहे हैं वो इस बात को मिस कर रहे हैं कि ये नोटिफिकेशन तो रिहेबिलिटेशन के लिए है ही नहीं. दिस इज फॉर ग्रीन फील्ड न्यू प्रोजेक्ट्स. It talks about RREP, REP, affordable housing, etc., which was introduced in 2019 by virtue of this amending notification. Because यहाँ पे सोसाइटी ये उस तरह के एग्रीमेंट के लिए है जहाँ पे एक लैंड ओनर होता है जिसके पास वैकेंट लैंड है, वो किसी बिल्डर के पास जाता है और बोलता है मैं खुद नहीं बना सकता, आप मेरे लिए बना दो. तो 100 फ्लैट बनते हैं तो 60-40 के रेशियो में, 55-45 के रेशियो में दोनों को मिलता है और दोनों अपने अपने हिस्से की बेच सकते हैं. और लैंड ओनर प्रमोटर को फिर क्रेडिट भी मिलता है. वो आगे के पैराज में लिखा हुआ है दैट लैंड ओनर प्रमोटर विल अवेल द क्रेडिट ऑल्सो एंड ही कैन सेल हिज शेयर. सो ये उस तरह के एग्रीमेंट जो आज 2 टियर 3 टियर सिटीज में चल रहे हैं उनके लिए है बेसिकली. बट समहाउ डिपार्टमेंट इसी नोटिफिकेशन को यूज करके ये लेवी डालने की कोशिश कर रहा है. तो सिमिलरली 4/2019, 5/2019, these are all the amending notification. They are all relevant when the fight will go on in a court of law, all these notifications will be discussed. Through a chart I have tried to just explain in Mahada cases how it happens, that the housing society no consideration, and in the case of buyers payment before CC. So basically no consideration in case of housing society, that is the important point. One very important point is that land and property is entry number 49 of list 2 of 7th schedule. So actually this is in service tax regime, the activity of transfer of title in immovable property was specifically excluded. Then this Chheda Housing Development Corporations, Road Builders, DLF Commercial, these all cases in pre-GST regime are in favor of the housing societies, that they should not be subjected to this thing. And further notification, so these things can be shared, and just this one slide I will explain. It is a summary. What it says that redevelopment projects are not mentioned in the notification 11/2017. In none of the notification, redevelopment or rehab word is there. Free flats word is also not mentioned. Then demand notices issued in the service tax era sought to fasten tax liability on the activity of giving possession to original members of the CHS, though no consideration involved in money terms. Such demand notices were kept in call book after Vasanta Green judgment. Department appeal is pending before Supreme Court. Question arises whether free flats are liable to GST even now. Relevant notification 11/17 is silent on this issue, but audit and anti-evasion wings of the GST department are still making cases. Possession is given to members by developer only after CC, no consideration. Additional FSI, etc. is also allotted by Mahada in the name of society. Yeah, and there is no clarity on taxability of free flats even among the tax practitioners, chartered accountants, and the taxpayers themselves. So this is an area where there is no clarity even among the tax practitioners. There is a difference in tax liability between CHS standing on freehold land and leased land. But because of paucity of time, I will not delve into this thing. This is a redevelopment CHS. Self-redevelopment, I have to try to just differentiate between the two, that in self-redevelopment society खुद से करेगी और उसमें उसको वो टैक्स का कैसे मिलेगा, because they will be paying GST on the goods and services which they will avail. So in case they come under the tax net later on, they can avail the credit from that portion. That is the only difference between joint development agreement and self redevelopment from a tax point of view. Thank you.
सर का प्रेजेंटेशन कैसा था? Give us a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ramesh ji.
Now we have another session chairman, of course from the department, principal CIT. He has taken a VRS. He is very famous and he has been kind enough to come all the way from Mumbai and be with us. And I request him to enlighten us your view on real estate transaction, applicability of income tax, and on real estate transaction as well as redevelopment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramesh Prabhuji and the organizers for calling me. As all of you young professionals are there, and I must say that I've been for 3 decades in the revenue service, mind थिंकिंग क्या रहती है फॉर अ रेवेन्यू ऑफिसर इज कि कहीं पे भी कोई इनकम या रिसीट दिख जाता है तो कैसे टैक्स कर सकते हैं. दैट इज द वे इट इज अप्रोच. तो आप कितना भी लिख लीजिए कि ये केस लॉ है, ये है, वो काम नहीं आता है, क्योंकि वो कहीं ना कहीं तो उसको बोलता है कि ये दिख रहा है किसी को बेनिफिट हुआ है तो टैक्स कैसे कर लें, ये उसका दिमाग उस पर लगता रहता है. तो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से हियर नाउ इज दैट आई कांट रियली टेल यू कि इससे हो जाएगा, बट दिस इज द बैकग्राउंड इन विच यू हैव टू थिंक अबाउट इट. तो जब हम वी टॉक अबाउट रीडेवलपमेंट, सिंपल बेसिक प्रिंसिपल्स से इफ यू वांट टू लुक एट इट, आज आपके घर आपकी यू हैव गॉट अ प्लॉट ऑफ लैंड एंड अ हाउस एंड यू हैव टू रिकंस्ट्रक्ट इट. आपको पुराना घर हो गया है, नया चेंज करना है, यू ब्रेक इट एंड मेक अ न्यू वन. व्हाट विल बी द बेसिक प्रिंसिपल्स इन्वॉल्व इन दिस? क्या होगा कि विल इट बी ट्रीटेड एज अ कैपिटल लॉस कि मेरी पुरानी बिल्डिंग टूट गई, उसका लॉस में क्लेम करूंगा, नई बिल्डिंग बनाया उसमें खर्चा लगेगा बनाने के लिए, वो कॉस्ट मुझे मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा, कल को ये बिल्डिंग में बेचूंगा तो क्या होगा? फंडामेंटल प्रिंसिपल्स इंडिविजुअली कैसे देखोगे आप इसको? दिस हाउ यू विल लुक एट इट. टेक अ स्टेप अहेड ऑफ इट. रीडेवलपमेंट है, एक कोऑपरेटिव हाउसिंग सोसाइटी है, देयर इज सम सीएचएस इज देयर, Now, in this case, there could be a situation where the conveyance has taken place and the owner of the land and building is the society now. And you are only a shareholder. तो आपके पास shareholder की right हो गई और उसके पास the land and the building belongs to society. Sometimes it may not belonging to him, as Radheshyam ji just mentioned. Now, in such a case, where you're talking about any gain that has come, भी आपको बदले में मकान मिल रहा है, तो you have incurred some cost to the previous flat that you had and now you got something else in return. Suppose करिए आपकी cost 2 करोड़ रुपए की थी या 20 लाख रुपए की थी. When he makes a new one, and even if he gives you the same area, उसकी वैल्यू कहीं ज़्यादा होगी because it's a new construction. So very fundamental principle wise you have definitely gained. Now question is कि पुराने cost को मैं set off कर लूँगा, मेरे पर नई value जो होगी वो होगी, कल को बेचूंगा तो उसमें ये cost मुझे मिल जाना चाहिए. This is how principally you would look at it. Also from the tax point of view, you will also look at कि ये इंसिडेंस किसके पास आ रहा है. इज इट गोइंग टू बी, सिंस द ओनर इज द सोसाइटी, द टैक्सेशन हैज टू बी फॉर द लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग जो रिलेटेड है, कैपिटल गेन्स है कि नहीं है, ट्रांसफर है कि नहीं, दीज आर मैटर्स विच आर, आई मीन लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स आर देयर, बट किसको टैक्स लगेगा, दैट इज द थिंग दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू बेयर इन माइंड. एंड वेयर दिस केस लॉज दैट यू विल रीड बिकम रेलेवेंट is when you are advising your clients, जो भी सोसाइटी को आप एडवाइस कर रहे हो, जो वोटर को एडवाइस कर रहे हो या आप मैनेजिंग कमेटी को एडवाइस कर रहे हो, हाउ टू स्ट्रक्चर द डेवलपमेंट अग्रीमेंट फ्रॉम द टैक्स परस्पेक्टिव इज इंपॉर्टेंट. बिकॉज आपको जैसे सेक्शन 53A की बात करते हैं कि भाई आपको पार्ट प्रदर्शन दे रहे हैं, कैन वी नाउ से दैट आई एम ओनली गिविंग अ लाइसेंस, यू आर नॉट अलाउइंग यू टू कम इन देयर. चतुर्भुज कपाड़िया का डिसीजन, पुराना डिसीजन, ऑल यू आर अवेयर. बट in the interest of lack of time, what I would say, mention to you, there are two things which have changed in the law as far tax law is concerned, very important, because many of these case laws which are in the past have undergone a total nullification. क्योंकि मैंने कहा कि डिपार्टमेंट जो है वो हमेशा खोजता रहता है किस तरह से उसको सॉल्व करके हम टैक्स कर लें. सो 55(2) सेक्शन 55(2) में चेंज आ गया है फ्रॉम 1/4/2024, which says now that कि आपका पहले जो था कि अब श्रीनिवास शेट्टी अप्लाई करके हम कहते हैं कि साहब हमारा कोई कॉस्ट नहीं था इसलिए टैक्सेबल नहीं हो सकता है. नाउ इट सेज दैट एनी राइट, एनी बेनिफिट दैट इज सेइंग. तो जो वेन 55(2) में जब कह दिया कि आफ्टर एनी बेनिफिट आपको मिल रहा है, सो ऑल द प्रीवियस केस लॉज बिकम्स यूजलेस, कोई काम का नहीं है. तो अभी देखना पड़ेगा नया केस लॉ में क्या डेवलपमेंट बनेगा, क्या बनेगा. बट कीप दैट इन माइंड that now whether the money has come to the as a corpus to the flat holder or it comes to society because the cost nahi tha, ultimately the whole economics of this works on the fact that you got certain extra construction rights and that is how the cost is met. तो ये जो है टैक्सेशन का पार्ट आ जाएगा, that is there. When you are advising your clients, you will also have to look at कि आपको फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल टैक्सेबिलिटी से बच सकते हैं कि नहीं बच सकते. अगर बच सकते हैं तो इंसिडेंट्स को डिले कर सकते हैं कि नहीं, अगर डिले कर सकते हैं तो क्वांटम घटा सकते हैं कि नहीं. दिस इज व्हाट योर नॉर्मल दिस थिंग टू देयर. अगेन सेक्शन 45(5)(a) अगेन इंपॉर्टेंट है. उसमें ऑफ कोर्स इट अप्लाइज ओनली टू इंडिविजुअल्स एंड HUF. उसमें बताता है कि भाई अगर आपका कोई डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है इसमें, तो व्हेन द ऑक्यूपेशन सर्टिफिकेट इज गिवन, जब कंप्लीट होता है उस ईयर में टैक्स होगा. तो एटलीस्ट वो एक पार्ट मिल जाता है, कीप दैट इन माइंड. एंड सेकेंडली ऑल्सो की वैल्यू क्या होगी, द वैल्यू इट ऑल्सो टॉक्स अबाउट उस डेट की वैल्यू लेंगे, प्लस वॉट एवर यू हैव रिसीव्ड द पास्ट अदर वे ऑफ कैश और अमेंडमेंट अब कह रहा है 1/4/24 से कि इट विल इंक्लूड ऑल्सो योर चेक्स, ड्राफ्ट एटसेट्रा. तो ये दो रिसेंट 2018 बहुत रिसेंट नहीं है, बट 2024 वाला इंपॉर्टेंट है. These are things that you need to keep in mind when you're looking at this. And as far as taxation is concerned, there's a humongous area, but always keep in mind that the other side is also always going to look at कि कैसे हम इसको demolish करेंगे और कैसे आप उससे बच सकते हैं, is what you're way. I'll stop at this point of time so that we can have questions from you, which is of course a great learning for us also. All sessions are so interesting and I'm really amazed the way it has been organized in the format that has been organized. Is really hats off to them, all of you. Thank you.
We can go on asking the questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for setting the stage for the income tax also. We have seen the income tax as well as the GST. Challenges, still we are confused with the development taxation itself. But think about the redevelopment taxation. There are unresolved problems with the development itself. So we are looking at the redevelopment taxation aspect of it. So one more thing, sir, in terms of the assessing officers, if they're not from the Maharashtra, say they come from the Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, somewhere else, they don't understand the concept of the redevelopment. In the books of accounts of the society, there is no capital asset at all. So whatever it comes to the society is completely taxable. Not about the receipt, not about the income, accrual, anything which is part of the books or the outside the books, department wanted to tax about it, sir. So with this, the open for the questions. Team 2 is like is the tax where they had collected some of the questions in terms of the GST as well as the income tax. We'll take one by one. We have, because this subject is a largely litigated and large impact on the revenue to the end users, even the assessee to the government also. Government, neither the government, not the industry, not the consumer wanted the clarity on that. Always I ask the department, sir, if there is a taxation, please give the clarity. Even government don't want to give a clarity on the real estate. That is a
Yeah.
challenge part
Let's
of
go
it,
to the
sir.
question.
Yes, sir.
She is the captain of the team 2. Rupa Gaming.
I'll be asking one question on income tax and then one question on GST.
Sure.
So first I go to income tax part. My first question is that in case of redevelopment of society where the developer pays transit rent for alternate accommodation to the members of the society who have signed the JDA, such rent does not form income in the hands of recipient, being consideration received for providing development rights to the developer. However, section 194IC requires the developer to deduct tax at source on cash compensation for such payments. Now 194IC has been just introduced recently, and that is notwithstanding, it says notwithstanding anything contained in section 194IA. So whether, and also considering the Bombay High Court judgment, recent Bombay High Court judgment in the case of Sarfaraz Furniture Wala, which was decided on 15th April 2024, then whether such rent or such compensation which is given, would it be taxable or it has to be considered as a capital receipt? And how come that 194IC says that TDS has to be deducted?
As far as rent is concerned, before this High Court judgment, we all were of view that whatever rent we get and how much we pay, that is to be deducted and balance was taxable under the head income from other sources. But when the tribunal decided this case, I still felt that this judgment of tribunal is not right. Earlier judgments were right, and we were doing in that way only. But after Bombay High Court has confirmed the judgment, that rent is not taxable, we have no choice. It is not taxable now. So whether you pay, you don't pay, you have another house to stay, you go there, and or you pay more than what you receive, but no connection between the two. Whatever you get by way of a rent from the landlord is exempt. Even High Court has considered this amended section 55(2) also in that judgment. So whatever sir said just now, whatever receipt is there, that will be taxable, and Mrs. Srinivasan Setty's case will be ignored, where they say no cost, no tax. So even in this rent case, it has been considered. Now second point, what you said, whenever builder gives some amount for the purpose of reimbursement, no tax has to be deducted. So he is not giving a rent as such. He is giving you to pay further rent. Whether you pay or don't pay, that is our problem. Person who receives it is his problem. But as far as TDS is concerned, on rent is not applicable. TDS is concerned on the hardship allowance given to the flat purchaser or corpus given to the society, also not applicable. Only when landlords sell land to the builder, and for individual HUF, sir has pointed out the individual HUF, it is taxed at the time of OC is received or building is completed. So in that situation, for example, I am a builder, you are a landlord. I purchase your flat, a plot, and I give you 20 crore rupee in advance, plus I will give you 40% of my flat. Now 20 crore when I give you, that is indirectly consideration for the sale of a land. There I have to deduct 10%, deposit with the government, carry forward in my return, and claim when I receive the remaining flat, when occupation certificate is received, or in Bhinder or Mira Road, there to completion come first, and then occupation come. In our Bombay, occupation come first and then completion come. So for whatever come first, occupation or completion, that certificate you receive, you are liable to pay the tax. That time you receive flat also, and what money you received earlier, 20 crore, that is also has to be taxed.
So that means according to you, TDS is not to be deducted on the rent payment hardship allowances. The challenge that we are facing, every chartered accountant, or rather most of the chartered accountants of the builder are giving an advice that please deduct TDS under 194 IC, otherwise tomorrow if it is disallowed, don't come and tell me. So in such a situation, how the individual flat owners to deal with this? Because he says, no, nothing doing, I will deduct. आप रिफंड क्लेम करो. And when go for refund, naturally they will not allow because assessing officer or CPA center does not understand. How you advise us?
See, the position what sir just now explained and madam referred to the Bombay High Court decision. If you will read that decision in fact confirms the tribunal decision which were rendered more than 5-10 years back. So under the income tax regime, it was well accepted that transit rent or the rent paid by a developer to the flat owners is not liable to be taxed. It is just because of the anomaly or the section uses the word rent. It is a general perception that it is a rent and therefore TDS has to be deducted. But nobody goes under the concept or the further that what actually is. Don't go by the nomenclature use. See, under the income tax, we still believe mutuality concept. We are not allowing, Supreme Court is accepting not liable to be taxed. Though under the indirect tax regime, it has been foregone. So income tax is totally a different thing. When you come to income tax, remove your concepts of all the other laws. Under the redevelopment or under the capital gain, we have our own definition of transfer. Income tax, sir is sitting, as he rightly said, we see everything as an income. We have own definition of income, we have our own definition of transfer. We don't go by the general law. So that is the beauty of this law of income tax. So whatever sir has just said, I think so this is an accepted proposition and there should not be any dispute. The Bombay High Court only reconfirms this. And you should understand the Bombay High Court decision which you cited, Furniture Wala, is not in the context of income tax. It was a dispute between the two developer society. In that context, a non-tax bench, while deciding that issue, have held that.
Council have argued. Now it is you to CIT appeal.
No. I'm on your side now. So, but what I would still advise, what I still think is that, you may take an interpretation, but at the end of the day, you or your client faces the music because, firstly, if somebody holds that there's a violation of TDS provisions and he wants to go after you as a tax deductor, one party will be affected there, and secondly, also disallowance of the expenditure. So both the things is something which will hit you. So one of the things is, of course, you can always take an application to say that there's no TDS is applicable, which could be from the point of view who's paying. It is safer to get this kind of a thing for him because that protects him. Otherwise, he will be open to this situation 4 years down the line when he gets a 201 notice and he's told that, look, TDS was deductible, and he gets into, and for him it is like multiple payments. So a humongous amount, and then it's a past period for which reopening will take place, 201 order will be passed, and he gets a litigation. So maybe it might be advisable to take a 197 certificate to say that it's not applicable, will be safer.
I think it has been well said. We should take the certificate of exemption. Yeah, second question on GST.
Sir, in case of redevelopment of society, where existing members receive extra area for the transfer of development rights, whether GST is leviable on the members, and similarly for hardship allowance, corpus shifting allowance, whether GST is leviable, and who has to bear it?
Yeah, Rupaben, let me first correct the question. It is not only free area. Even existing area is also exposed to the GST taxation. Please understand GST scope of supply. The scope of supply says exchange, barter of goods or services, etc., etc., etc. So definitely under construction flats allotted to the members is a service. If you go by the strict interpretation of the law, it's a service. You are making the permanent alternate accommodation agreement before construction, correct? So the commitment has been made to you before construction. So it's a barter. It's a basically barter. So in my view, construction services provided to the members in respect of rehab flats is liable to GST. Suppose, you are having original flat of 600 square feet. The builder gives you 200 square feet more, 800 square feet. And you take, 300 square feet extra by paying the money. This is generally the situation, 1,100 square feet. So on 800 square feet, it's a construction services provided by the builder to the members, and as per the law, he has to pay the GST, the builder has to pay the GST at the rate of 5% or 1%, whatever is applicable, on the first agreement value of the sale portion you have to take. First agreement value of sale portion you have to take. And on that, you have to calculate the 5% tax and you have to pay it. And you have to pay it on the date of, completion of the project, on the date of OC. As far as extra 300 area is concerned, in your agreement, there will be milestone payments. Plinth ke upar itna, itke upar itna, itke upar itna. So according to milestone, whenever you are paying them, checks, at that time you have to pay the GST. As far as your rents are concerned, see, generally rent, hardship allowance, corpus, shifting allowance, brokerage, these are the 5-6 payments in the Bombay the builder gives. So number one, as Sarma sir has said rightly, the definition of section 7, scope of supply, they say any transfer, barter, exchange of goods or services for consideration in course and on furtherance of a business is taxable. If I am holding the residential flat, if the members are holding the residential flats, this I am not getting in course or furtherance of my business. And when you are slightly, conceptually slightly, I am differing from you. Whatever payment the members are getting, they are not getting towards the development right. These are towards the hardship and other allowances. There are two separate services. Development rights are owned by the land is owned by the society, and development rights are transferred by the society. Members do not transfer the development right. So in my opinion, hardship allowance, this thing is not taxable. Only we have to take a care. If your member is occupying the commercial premises, maybe shop, maybe office, because there it is hold. These particular premises are held as a business asset. And once you are having business asset, any income, means you are doing this in a course or furtherance of a business. So I am holding that view. So I think I have given the...
Yeah. He has, Sanket has to, young hai.
Sure.
बहुत एनर्जी है.
Sir, कहाँ ना बोलता हूँ, मेरा दोस्त है sir.
Just one point to add here. So we can also take reference of the Vasantha Green case, which sir had referred to. The case is by the tribunal and currently in Supreme Court. However, what is the facts of the case are very relevant for us is, the case said that in such a case where free units or free area is given to the existing members or in a development project to the landowners, there the case says that the cost of that constructed area is recovered from the units which are sold to third party customers, and while that is recovered from the third party customers, the tax on that is already paid on the units which are sold to third party customer. So that's why that case is saying that no tax need to be again recovered on the area which is given free. I do not concur to the view of that judgment. However, that judgment is in Supreme Court. Probably the time will tell us what happens with that judgment. So just want to
even Sanket, even the Supreme Court held the judgment, but there will be, see, this is a tribunal judgment, and SLP has been filed by the department with the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has not stayed the order of the tribunal. So department is right in its own way to issue the so-called notice, because Supreme Court not say tax is not payable, and SSC is right holding that why should I pay the tax where the Supreme Court has said tax is payable. But there are few things are there. So I am not arguing, but I am very giving the proper cautious view. Yeah. Because while delivering the Vasantha Green project, the tribunal has ignored two very basic judgments. One judgment is LCA City Maker, Madras Tribunal, and secondly, they have ignored the Madras High Court judgment of N. Balabhaskar, which says the area sharing, the constructed area given to the landowner is taxable. How come tribunal can ignore the judgment of the High Court? And secondly, the law is totally different. This is service tax, this is this. And if you see the notification number 3 to 9 that has come, that clearly says that area sharing is taxable. I agree with Sanket that we may have to wait for the Supreme Court to decide, but then you are starting a second round of litigation. If you depend on that, then again, the department will say it is under the service tax, all these notifications have come, and Balabhaskar has not been covered and all the things. So, because you are my fraternity, I am telling you, it is very fancy to say that Vasantha Green project tax mat bharo. एक बार मेंबर्सों ने रीडेवलपमेंट में फ्लैट ले लिया, अंदर घुस गए और नहीं भरा टैक्स आपने, 5 साल के बाद जब नोटिस आएगा 18% टैक्स, 5% टैक्स, 18% इंटरेस्ट, and the penalty will not be levied because Supreme Court, this judgment is pending before the Supreme Court. So in my view, practical advice, Vasanta Green project, and Vasanta Green comes in a favor. Who prevent the member to go for refund? If the tax is paid, then the members can go for the refund. This is what my view. I have been taking this, giving the view to the my.
सर इधर बहुत सारे वकील भी बैठे हैं, उनका रोज रोटी क्या होएगा? If there is no litigation.
सर लिटिगेशन करो ना फिर आप. हेलो सर, रोजी रोटी में क्या होता है सर, एक केस मिल गया आपको, लड़ते रहो फिर, लेकिन दैट गुडविल इज अफेक्टेड सर इफ यू नॉट गिवन द राइट एडवाइस.
I agree. So now over to GST Commissioner.
I don't know whether panelists who have spoken, I don't know whether both panelists who have spoken on this issue, they are chartered accountants only or they
Chartered
are
accountants.
advocates also.
No, they are chartered accountants.
So in my service, active service, there has always been a view, all those big fours also used to come to me, that accounting is your domain area. You are an accounting expert, you are an income tax expert. But law का जो explanation है, कानून की व्याख्या तो कानून वाला ही कर सकता है और वही व्याख्या सही होगी. अभी मैं आपको बताता हूँ वसंता ग्रीन में जो डिसीजन है, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वसंता ग्रीन का डिसीजन जैसा इन्होंने बताया कि इट हैज़ नॉट बीन स्टेड, दैट मीन्स इट होल्ड्स द फील्ड. मेरे एक ऑडिट पैरा में मेरा रिटेन में ऑर्डर दिया हुआ है कि वसंता ग्रीन स्टिल होल्ड्स द फील्ड because government has not been able to get an stay on that. So all the quasi-judicial authorities are bound to follow a superior court's order unless it is a stay. Number one. Number two, after Vasantagiri, Bayana Builders judgment also came. On the basis of Bayana Builders judgment, Mumbai West Commissionerate has dropped, Commissioner Adjudicating Authority has dropped a 7 crore so-called notice in the case of Amitabh Harivansh-Rai Bachchan. And that order has been accepted by the Committee of Chief Commissioners. It has happened last year only. What is the difference between service tax regime and now? Service tax regime, valuation of the service was like the wording used by was the cost of construction. And now it is said it is a transaction value, section 15, paid or payable. So there is not much difference that way. Cost of construction, as everybody agrees, that cost of construction is recovered by the builder from the third party or the sale component. He is not charging anything to the original members. Whatever his expenses are there and his profit is recovered from the third party. So if the cost of construction is the parameter, then the free flats are not taxable. Now, transaction value paid or payable. So what he has paid and what is payable, that we have to say. So what is payable? If the builder has, the other buyers who have bought flats, the third party, new buyers, they have paid and the construction cost has been recovered by the builder from them. Is it anything payable by the free flats owner to the builder? No. Nothing is payable by the original society member to the builder. It is the other way around, whether the builder pays him compensation, hardship, whatever you call rent, or one-time lump sum payment. Whatever is it paid by the developer, not by the members. So there is nothing payable. So even in today's law, there is no difference as far as valuation of the service goes, because you will charge tax only on a value. You can't charge on a vacuum. You have to first determine what is the value of the service, if it is at all a service. So the free flat component was never part of the construction cost, because it was not charged by the builder to the original members, and even now it is not payable by the original members. So there is no change. Law it certainly will take its course, and I am more than sure that ultimately it is going to be in the favor of the societies and these members, original members. But a lot of confusion. That's why in my slide it was written there is no uniformity and clarity even among tax practitioners, chartered accountants, and the various stakeholders.
That's correct.
If advising the client कि तुम पे करो, तुमको 18% लगेगा, बाद में ये लगेगा, that goes totally against the taxability. There is no service element in that. I have tried to say that it is an exchange of immovable property. Anyway, everybody is entitled to his view.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Sir,
Chetan, go ahead.
just escalate this question once again. Sir, as you both were the ex-government revenue authorities, as you rightly said that there are two views on this aspect, but we as a chartered accountants, because this course is of WIRC, and as a chartered accountant, I want to ask you this question. Sometimes what happens nowadays, the department is so aggressive, as rightly said by previous commissioner sir, that department कैसे भी करके चाहेगा कि tax लगाना है. So nowadays what is happening, this aggressive terminology of the department is making us conservative, and because the huge values are coming in future, our independence of opinions getting damaged. I concur your view that as a consultant, if I am a chartered accountant, if I am an advocate, I have to follow that. But sometimes this dilemma makes me to think on the materiality, because if that is going to give a huge impact on my client's books of accounts and taxation output liability, I will have to say that no, you pay it today, or else this हो जाएगा, ये litigation लेके जाएगा. How to concur this? Because you both are being a government revenue authorities, we are afraid on this matter sometimes.
Yeah, Naresh bhai is going to say that.
मैं सर के साथ में इसलिए एग्री नहीं रहता हूँ कि देर इज नो एक्सचेंज. स्कोप ऑफ द सप्लाई सेज एक्सचेंज बार्टर. हियर आई हैव एज ए फ्लैट सोसाइटी मेंबर, आई हैव a valuable right to occupy the flat. What I am doing today, I am surrendering that right, in the sense, I have indirectly the right in the, development, whatever society has done the development right, transfer the development right. Indirectly, the entire development right belongs to whom? Indirectly, it belongs to the members. So there is definitely an exchange. It is not that it has come free of cost. Nothing comes in this world, there is nothing free. It has come, I am giving up my valuable rights. Against that, I am getting the constructed flat. So I personally feel it falls under the scope of supply. That is the first thing. And as far as, I agree, GST law has subsumed the service taxation law. But there are various changes. For example, Vasanta Green project, I agree, Vasanta Green project says this. But after that, lot of water has flown. If you see, I don't have the time, otherwise I would have explained you, because my half of the life has gone in the real estate taxation only for GST and service tax. So, in my opinion, you cannot say the service tax law is the same as GST law. There's a lot of difference. For the want of time, I will. Okay, there is. Something is exchanged.
No, I have one regarding this query which you have answered. That what about, as Mr. Sharma has said, that in the course of furtherance of business, how would you say?
We are on.
चालू है सर, चालू है.
We are on the taxability of the construction services. Who provides the construction services?
Builder.
He is not doing in course of business. He is doing in course of business. As far as other things are concerned.
Landowner.
Sir, madam, landowner को तो service मिल रहा है ना? Who is service provider? What we are talking today about, the tax on the construction services. Builder provides it. So he is doing in course of further of business. That's why I have given you the answer कि rent वगैरह जो मिलता है, that is not giving in the course of further business. As far as development right is concerned, technically the development right has been granted by the legal owner.
Entering 600-foot flat, getting a 600-foot flat back, nothing extra. On that also builder has to pay the GST.
So, tax is what? Tax is not on sale of flat. Tax is on the construction services. Sir, if the original flats are demolished and reconstructed, it is not service, sir? That's why taxable.
Explain this thing. This notification 11 by 2017, one para 2A was added by virtue of notification 3 by 2019. And department and certain those CAs who are in favor of the department's view, they are twisting it in such a way that 2A says that the landowner promoter will also sell his portion of the flat. Then what should be the value? So it will be a deemed value. The first flat which has gone for commercial sale, that value will be taken for those flats which the landowner is selling. Here we are not selling. What I am trying to say that society members these agreements, all agreements are different from each other. You have to read the agreements. You cannot generalize. All agreements are not same. So this 11 by notification, charging notification itself does not cover rehabilitation. But somehow there is, because clarity is not there, and that gentleman said that there is a lot of pressure applied by the department. I am aware of that, and in my time there was pressure applied in 4 or 5 cases where I have taken a decision. All those my views have now been recommended by 53rd Council. One was section 16(4). I have given a order in file that this limitation of section 16(4) will not apply for the first 3 years. It is decision in the case of one very famous film production house, and 8 crores was being sought to be denied under section 16(4). Only there was a 4 days delay. So I have given an order. It has come in the 53rd Council. In section 73, 74 applicability, I have given a decision. And that now a new proposal has come in the this thing Council, that time limitation will be same for section 73 and 74. So it is not that there are not officers in the department who take a pragmatic view, who know that after when the so-called notice is issued, what will happen, what will be the fate of so-called notice before a tribunal or a high court.
Yeah,
but,
sir, I think
there is a pressure. Of course, I understand there is a pressure from the department, and many of the CAs and their advisor, they get succumbed to that pressure.
You can take, madam, any other, the notification says, as per the first agreement sale, you have a view construction value, I have got a view of construction value. But the notification says, as per the GR.
Not, I am not saying that. Even, see, PAAA we are making it, but even on the, when the society makes the development agreement, correct? Nowadays, even the members have to countersign that development agreement. It means there is an understanding has been arrived. So the construction, it is provided to you under construction.
Okay, yeah.
Sir, in the case of the redevelopment society itself, but the redevelopment society is SRA or a MHADA. So what will be the case? It will be the same taxation or it will be different?
Just repeat karo.
In case of the redevelopment society of SRA or MHADA, will the taxation be same or it will get changed?
To the extent of what is being given to the members, to the existing members, the answer won't change.
Okay, answer won't change. Any other questions? Madam, आपका group का? Yeah, Chetan.
Sir, we are moving to next question now.
Yeah. देखो आपको और 5 मिनट मिलेगा. Total question खत्म करना पड़ेगा.
See, one question now on income tax.
Yeah.
Whether under the joint development agreement, a member who has
any other members can also ask. It is not that only you should ask.
No, I will be giving it to
Yeah, no. You have to give it to the member who has asked the question. Okay, go ahead. Everybody should get an opportunity to ask the question. Madam, go ahead.
income tax. In case of a JDA, where a member who has been allotted a flat transfers it before the completion certificate, then whether capital gains is applicable considering section 45(5)(a).
If individual person, look, 45(5) is amended with effect from assessment in 1718. Before that, what was the law? If I tell you that, we will able to understand. Let us assume that I am a landlord of a building. Correct? I contact a builder. I don't want to sell my land. If I sell my land, he pay me money, I pay capital gain tax and chapter over. I don't want to sell my land. I give my land to the builder. Tell him, you give me 10 crore rupee today. Whatever construction you make, give me 50%, you keep 50%, or whatever, 45, 55, whatever percentage. Earlier, what was the tax? I have, let us assume 50-50 arrangement, there is not a single money I received. What will be my tax liability? Up to assessment is 16-17. In case of all the SSC, individual, HUF, company, firm, LLP, all. I have given my 50% land to him. Let us assume 50% land is worth 5 crore rupee. Total land is worth 10 crore, 50% given 5 crore. Now in lieu of that, on my remaining 50%, he will be doing the construction and will hand over to me. So construction cost, let us assume it is 12 crore rupee on my 50% area. 10 and 12, sorry, construction cost 12 crore, land value 10 crore we are counting 50% ka. So 10 and 12, what is higher? 12. So I was liable to pay tax on 12 crore. That was the law. I have not received any build flat. building, whether it will be completed or not completed, God knows. Today I have given my land also to him. 100% I have given indirectly, so 50% for construction, 50% for use. And he might have sold something, and God knows whatever mess is created, and further income tax take, you pay tax on it. So law was amended in Finance Bill 2016 with effect from assessment year 17-18 for individual and HUF. Only individual and HUF. For company, LLP, firm, AOP, same old law is applicable. Individual and HUF, they say, you will be not paying tax at the time of signing the agreement. Even you receive 10 crore rupee, for example, and you receive 50% area, 10 crore, of course, 10% TDS will be deducted, that will be carried forward year after year. And when building is ready, fit for occupation, habitable, OC or CC, whatever is received first, that time builder will hand over 50% area to me. That time my 50% area ka what is construction cost plus 10 crore rupee, everything will be added at that point of time. Now there were controversies there, the department now trying to add value as per ready rector value of 50% my area. When our stand is the land was my land only. What builder has done, he improved upon it. 50% land value or construction cost plus 10 crore is fine. But land belong to me only. My 50% land I have not parted, it is my land. So you can charge me only construction cost, not on the land. But section wording is such, department interpret that it is a market value as per director, and we say it is a construction cost. I request Ajay Singh ji to put some more light on it, yes. Whatever is happening in High Court.
Yes, so simply answering your question, if you read the proviso to 55A, the moment you sell or transfer before the OC, the capital gain will arise. The moment you transfer, you violate the provision, the condition, and you arise, the capital gain arise. Rest of the thing, only that part, as far as that particular area of share, that particular area of share is concerned, on that it is taxable. What sir has explained about the stamp duty and ready reckoner, to that extent, unfortunately, the section what it reads is the stamp duty and ready reckoner value has to be taken at the when the OC is there for computing thing. But I will give you a catch here. There is a catch how you make your development agreement and how you share your area. So I will just give you an example. We had structured the agreement beforehand. So normally what happened, where income tax, we are the last person, but we take the maximum share. So initially RERA, GST, all this happens, accounts is filed, RERA, thereafter sir will come in picture, I will come in picture.
Yeah, income tax is the last.
We are last, but we take the maximum share.
That's correct.
So the problem is that whenever you enter in these agreements, unfortunately you miss to understand the tax aspect, including GST and income tax. If you take this consideration at the initial stage of your entering into development agreement, many of sort of these problems you can sort out. So like in one of the cases where this type of agreement was there, and what we had suggested, and it was not falling in 5A, they were outside the purview of 5A. So what we had suggested, they had in fact entered, everything was done, the agreement was also done. When we entered in that, we found that there will be a complexity of arriving what is the cost, valuation and all this aspect. There we entered and we suggested, why don't you take your share by defining or demarcating your land area. You take your share in one of the wings, keep it completely, give the other share to the other wing to the developer. In that case, what the argument sir has just said, that I have not parted with the land area. That argument itself will not be there, and there is a direct judgment of the Pune bench, where in the case where land is not transferred, only the construction has been done by the developer entering on my land, then in that case the construction cost has to be taken and not the land cost. And in that case, in the ready reckoner, there are two rates. One is a market rate in the case where land and the structure is there, but in the case there is also a ready reckoner rate which provides only the construction cost rate. And the tribunal has accepted that yes, in such a case where the land itself belongs to them, he has not parted with that, to that extent is there. In that we had made the two computation, considering what is the cost of the other part of the land which has been transferred. It can be the construction cost or the cost of the land which I have transferred, in lieu of which the builder has constructed my part of the land. So it is advisable when these types of contracts are there, you understand it at the time of entering into the contract or making the development. These types of issues, you can resolve it at that stage.
Yeah, next question.
Just one thing.
Yeah.
I think your question was essentially about Your question was actually about a person who has sold it before the thing.
yes.
And to limited point, of course, my learned, I've learned a lot from Mr. Vimal Punamia. He gives a very comprehensive answer, but your point was limited,
Yes,
just about
my
before.
point was-
And simple answer to that is that it is a capital asset that he has sold it, capital gains tax will be leviable to him straight away. Valuation part of it is there. But this is nothing to do with 45(5)(a). It's before that he has sold, and the tax will be leviable on that.
No, but it says under that section that where the member has been allotted a flat at the time, means he has
No, but
been
it has to be in terms of that,
But he
in terms of that
was-
agreement. It's not in terms of the agreement. He has sold it midway.
Yeah, he has sold
So it is not.
after
It is not part of that agreement, because it says that in the course of that agreement.
it is a part of the agreement, but now he does not want to go to that particular flat. So he sells it at the time of it is under construction.
So what I'm trying to say, it doesn't come. I don't have the section before me, but I don't think it complies with the definition under 45(5)(a), because it's not in the course of that agreement that he's doing it. It's in between. He's selling off his right. That's what I understand from it.
You are right. You are right. It's a capital asset which he is holding. If he is holding for more than 2 years, naturally capital gain long-term capital gain will happen. Otherwise, short-term. Yeah, go ahead, sir. Question.
Yes, sir. My next question is, sir, on account of self-redevelopment. If society, it is both related for income tax as well as for GST. I will start with GST first, as we have completed income tax right now. Sir, if one society is self-developing that project, wherein, say for example, 50 flats are there, now they are coming up with the 75 flats, where 50 flats will be given to the existing owners, and the society remaining 25 flats are selling in the open market. So what would be the scenario for GST for those 25 flats, what they are selling in the open market? Per se, GST will come into picture in the hands of society, and whether it will come in the hands of society,
Yeah.
and what could be the valuation
Sharma
aspect
sir,
for it?
question to you. In the self-redevelopment, what will happen to the
Yes.
flats which are-
Due to paucity of time, I could not touch that self-redevelopment aspect. I had some slides on that. See, self-redevelopment by the very meaning is that the building is, of course, liable to be demolished because it is no more habitable, it is dangerous for living, and that's why society has, by majority decision, decided to enter into an agreement with any developer and suitable developer. We are talking of self-redevelopment. So here the society will, like any individual house owner, will appoint some contractor, and all the materials will be purchased by the society. So all those materials will be tax paid, GST paid, whatever cement, whatever has to be bought. In that case, society should first, even if it is not registered, they should first take registration under GST. And then all these tax paid goods or tax paid services, like services of an architect, that will be availed by the society. So those credits will accumulate in the credit ledger of the society. Now, if society becomes liable to tax, being that maintenance charges being more than 7,500 and total collection being more than 20 lakhs in a year, if the society becomes liable to pay GST, then this credit can be availed. This is the only GST impact on that.
Sir, what about that 25 flats which they are going to sell
No,
in the open
that is, I was coming to that. I don't think that there will be any commercial sale allowed in a self-redevelopment.
No, sir. In order to make it profitable or economically viable, some of the flats is sold in the open market. Suppose in the self-redevelopment.
In that case, because all members are shareholders in the society, so the sale proceeds will accrue to everybody. Society itself is an abstract thing. There is no concrete thing like a society. It is all made up of the members.
Sir, I have given a tax planning for income tax and GST and RERA, self-redevelopment. What is the tax planning? You have got 20 members in a society, you have construct 40 flats. And everybody you give 2 flats. In a redevelopment, if there are existing members are getting any number of flats, new allotments are not happening, that means no RERA is applicable. So you are out of RERA. That is the first. Second, as existing member, there is no new allotment. RERA section 3, subsection 2, clause C. It says redevelopment, if there is no new allotment, new allottees, the existing members gets any number of the flats, no RERA is applicable. So therefore, clause 3, subsection 2, clause C of the RERA, you look at it. When there is no new allottees, no RERA is applicable. You are out. The second, GST Commissioner has rightly said, if you are giving service to yourself, I am developing for myself, for my members in the general body meeting, and I am giving a flat to my own person, I am not doing any business. It is not in the furtherance of business. Where is the question of GST comes? So there cannot be a GST. Third, Vimal Puname will agree, and he has been confirming there is a lot of Supreme Court judgment which says, if a member is providing service to himself, concept of mutuality is applicable, so he will out of the income tax also. This is my humble submission to the panel, and let GST Commissioner and our Income Tax Commissioner counter me. Thank you.
So my field is not GST, but the question that I would have for Mr. Prabhu is that as far as the contractor who is doing the work for society, will he not be liable to GST? I'm sure he will be liable for GST. No, I'm talking about GST ki baat, just because I'm also learning in this process, so I'm just asking this question. To my mind, it appeared that as far as contractor is concerned, he is providing the services to the society, so it will be applicable to him. The question about whether, so in your case, of course, you are not providing service to anyone, so GST on you, as it apparently will not apply. Coming to income tax point of view, you have got 2 flats per se when you have yourself constructed it. Unless and until you sell it, nothing really happens. And which is the example which I gave you initially, that if I have a plot of land, I have my house, I make a 3-storied or a 2-storied, how does it matter? Because at this stage, I'm still constructing it only, and there's no taxable effect that has taken place as far as income tax is concerned. There's no different from that vis-a-vis a society or an individual. I have one single-storied house, I made a 3-storied house, I got 2 flats in the society, or other, at that stage, nothing triggers. But when you sell it, yes, obviously it will trigger. So to that extent, I think he's very perfectly valid on that part.
I think that I had touched this in the beginning. Some people might have missed what I said. See, I said that it is advisable to take registration. Why? Because in self-development also, you are buying goods and services which are tax paid. So you are entitled for a credit, right? So if you have taken a registration, GST registration, I am not saying RERA registration. I didn't mean RERA registration, whether it...
Yeah, no, I was talking about income tax, GST.
So GST registration, the society is advised to take a GST registration, even if they are not registered person at that point of time, because either they are falling within 20 lakhs or 7,500 per flat maintenance, they are not fitting into that criteria. There are many small societies who don't have to take GST registration. But in self-development, if they take a registration, they become entitled to take credit of all those goods and services. They buy the services of an architect. They may buy of the services of a works contractor who will erect the building, RCC for them. So all those services, and then the goods on which the GST has been paid, like cement and other inputs. So they will get a credit of that. If they become liable for service tax, this GST, because they have exceeded the limit of 20 lakhs, then at that time they can set off against this credit. What tax burden they have suffered while buying the goods and services directly as a consumer, because they are just like any individual buying his own house. So there is no service element certainly there, because I am not providing service to myself, but only to the limited extent of what I will do with the credit which is accumulated, because I have bought cement, I have brought salia, I have brought so many things, then I have for electrical fitting and water connection, so many things. I have procured duty paid goods and services. Those credit I can avail when I have to pay GST on the maintenance charges which I collect from the members.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nareshji.
Only one sale.
Yeah.
Sanjay Singh is right. Sir, Sanjay Singh is right.
Sanjay
Singh, sir. When he said there is a mutuality concept as far as income tax is concerned, but please let me draw the attention of all the members over here mutuality concept has been done away with the retrospective amendment in the GST law. Society and members are two different people. We have the judgment of the Calcutta, the Calcutta Club.
Baro.
Thereafter, the law has been changed, and there are specific provisions. Any services provided by the builder, by the society to the members, or vice versa, both are taxable. That's why I'm not agreeing to your planning of giving 2 flats to the members. If members contribute the money for second flat,
Correct.
then there is a transaction for consideration. See, mutuality concept is gone. Society and members are two different people. You are now giving the money to the society for constructing the second flat.
Correct.
So in my opinion, GST में आपका प्लानिंग जो है थोड़ा
फेल जाएगा.
एक बार रिविजिट करना पड़ेगा. आई एम नॉट सेइंग फेल जाएगा. In this country, the legal position comes after 30 years, sir.
You doesn't want to give. You don't want to give in this conference free consultancy.
No, sir. I am giving the free consultancy, sir. Absolutely free consultancy. I am absolutely open, sir.
Sir, ऐसा है. मैं एक मिनट.
No, sir.
Sir, wait. Sir, I am just requesting you. If can I call myself as a works contractor, a society constructing the building, taking the construction cost, because we are two different entities. In a general body resolution is passed that we will take so much construction cost and give you. So now I have become a contractor. Can I charge 18% GST and take an input credit saying it's a works contract?
Definitely you can do that. Definitely, sir, 1 minute. Definitely you can do that. But for the works contract, you have to construct on the land of others. Here the society himself is constructing on his land, and you are giving, when you are selling the flat, you are giving the underlying rights in the land also indirectly to the members. So it's a 5%.
Okay.
I am, sir, with
No, I agree. No, I do respect your view.
Just one more point.
Yeah, Ajay ji.
I may not have the final answer.
Yeah.
But as you said that you will give 2 flats.
Yeah.
It striked after everybody, it striked section 56 Roman 10. Any immovable property received without consideration.
Sir, ऐसा है. I am charging construction.
Yeah,
Yeah, please.
56 Roman 2 10.
Yeah.
Without consideration. Your question is a bit different. So as I said, somebody will have to apply his mind from all angles. We may not conclude anything.
That's correct.
See, if we are developing a land on my own land, I am making 1 floor, 2 floor, there is a difference. But when we are doing a society, the land is not belonging to the members. The land is belonging to the society. You cannot just construct additional areas in air. You have TDR, you have FSI, then only that means you are consuming that. Again, it has a value in a market. It has some market. You will assign some value to that. There will be some construction cost. These are few things. एक बार के लिए समझ लेते 5610 assessing officer भूल गया, निकल गया, बाहर आ गए. बाद में when the time when you will sell, what will be the cost of your flat? Zero. Your capital gain indexation? Zero. Full consideration? बाद में होगा, it will be taxable.
Okay.
There
Next
can
question.
be some better planning. There can be some better planning in this.
Yeah, we'll have to discuss.
Sir, sorry to stick on the same question once again, because in my question the scenario was different. What Prabhu sir was saying that 2 different plans, that is okay. I am coming to my basic question once again. Society is developing, 50 flats are constructed, given to existing owners, 25 flats are selling in the market by society itself. Let's they are not able to do this planning. Correct. That 25 flats they are taking some consideration from the third party buyers, and existing 50 members are also contributing some. So 50 flats they are giving to the
society will be liable for that receipt of the income. No, from the members, what you are receiving is for, you said it is for the
construction cost.
For the construction cost. So there is no income as far as you will say. So it lot depends how you account this receipt, how you receive that construction cost. Whereas what you sell in the open market, here again the question you will arise that if you do a better planning, you will have to assign some cost of that 25 flats. You have to have the FSI, the TDR value, you have to see section 55, you have to see the stamp duty value, arrive at that, construction cost, and thereafter, if you do a better planning, there can be some safeguards. You have to understand there are different ways you can do this. If you do it in the better way, probably you will save higher level of taxation.
Yeah, one or two more questions.
So my question is related to income tax regarding section 194IA. In that it is mentioned clearly it is for when you pay any amount to the seller for buying of land or building. My question is whether it is applicable TDS on compensation paid to the tenants, that is for tenancy rights, that is Pagadi system what is going on in Mumbai. So the landlords sometimes they deduct TDS on that compensation amount which is arrived compensation by virtue of consent terms admitted in the court of law. So is TDS applicable on that compensation amount 194IA?
Section applicable only to land and building.
Yeah.
And tenancy right is not a building, so no TDS will be applicable.
Fine. Because some of the landlords...
Opinion in Hindustan is 22 High Court. Each High Court even give different opinion.
Right.
But my interpretation is that is not applicable to this.
Right. Sir, second
even
question-
long-term capital gain, 2 years is applicable only land and building, not to tenancy right 3 years will be there.
Right. So,
आपका पहला सवाल जो था सोसाइटी का, हमने किया है चौपाटी पे एक सोसाइटी बनाई थी, सब मेंबर को भी ज़्यादा एरिया दिया है. सोसाइटी ने 3 फ्लैट बेचे थे 10 करोड़ रुपए के अंदर. We have not made any agreement. We simply made them member, taken a donation of 10 crore rupee and allotted shares to them. ITO made addition, matter went up to tribunal, finally we succeeded. You say members say you can't take the money. A concept of course mutuality is in our income tax every day we argue on concept of mutuality. I don't know about GST. The sir said कि mutuality चला गया है. हमारा income tax में अभी है mutuality concept.
Right. So second question is on section 56(2)(10).
Concept section 56?
210.
210.
Yeah. So regarding purchase of immovable property, there are plethora of the income tax department is taking a view whenever the agreement value is less than the stamp duty value. So my question to you is at CIT appeal level, if the SDV is not disputed at the AO level, if the matters come for CIT appeals hearing, can at that stage can we contend for setting aside matter back to the AO?
Why set aside?
I'm going to say for DVO, the CIT appeals can take it to DVO.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, it's working.
so I would say that at this stage also it should be permissible, and I think in one case even I recollect having done that, where we make a reference to the violation officer was directed to the AO to do that. So that is something which is technically something which you are entitled to. I think it should be allowed. It should not be something which is totally out of bounds as such. That is
Right,
concerned.
sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. And the third.
I will tell you, this we do it in tribunal first time. So CIT appeal, you are at a better place.
Yeah, that's right. So the third question is, in case of redevelopment, the old member is getting a new flat, and sorry, the member is getting a renewed flat, but if the construction, the OC is coming after 3 years, so what will be the date of purchase, the date of allotment, the date of PAAA? My question is that the possession, yeah. For the purpose of clearing exemption of 54.
मैं समझ गया. Section 54, 54F, दो सेक्शन इनकम टैक्स में इंपॉर्टेंट है. What is 54? If I sell anything, exchange और सब सेल में आ जाता है. It is also one type of exchange only, giving old flat, taking new flat. And that is the view what we are department has taken. So in this case also, I have given my old flat, I am getting new flat. The day I hand over possession of the old flat, that is a date, crucial date for the transaction, possession. When you, what money you receive, don't receive, the agreement when you make it not relevant, the day I hand over possession and day I get the possession. Those dates are very, very important. So in 54 what happened, if I purchase something 1 year earlier, 2 years afterwards and own construction 3 years. Now when builder is constructed or society is constructed or I am constructing my own construction. So within 3 years it should be ready. Correct? Now let us assume that builder has written in agreement, I will give you within 3 years. Then he is not giving 3 years, he take 4-5 years.
Right.
Then there are number of judgment. Those judgments say, as a purchaser, I have done everything whatever is to be done. Now builder is not giving, so it is not my fault. Section say very clearly, within 3 years we will not get it, it will be added. And deduction will be not allowed, and whatever difference of the old flat and new flat will be liable to for capital gain tax. But there are judgments, including Bombay High Court judgment, started with Pune Tribunal first. Then Bombay High Tribunal followed, and High Court and various judgments are there. And they say, if I have done at my part, let us say I sold some jewelry or shares or something and purchased a flat from builder. Builder write in the agreement, he will hand over within 3 years from day, and that fits in with my date of sale of the capital asset. But builder is not giving me what I can do. So judgment will come to the rescue and he will succeed finally.
So it's controversial.
But for example,
Yeah.
agreement में वो लिखता है मैं 5 साल के बाद दूंगा, तो आप फंस गए उधर. Agreement में 3 साल लिखना चाहिए. हाँ, पर फिर भी हम लोग तो एग्रीमेंट का डेट से चलाते हैं. एक जगह हमने देखा था रेरा का डेट 5 साल बाद आ रहा था, हमने उसको बोला एग्रीमेंट में 3 साल लिखा और हमारी गाड़ी चल गया.
So subject to litigation, sir.
लिटिगेशन तो हिंदुस्तान में है ही सर, किधर भी लिटिगेशन होगा. लिटिगेशन तो है, इसके लिए अपन सब लोग इतने.
That's why we are.
But there is one aspect of it. There is one aspect of it. विमल जी ने सही बताया. ये 3 साल का जो पीरियड का एक इंटरप्रिटेशन ये भी था कि आप whatever you are giving as your own property which is given for redevelopment, तो उसके बाद 3 साल का, इसलिए भी कह रहे हैं कि अलॉटमेंट को भी कहते हैं कि आपको दे रहे हैं, तो दैट इज ऑल्सो एज गुड एज 3 साल में अपने परचेज करने कंस्ट्रक्शन का टाइम मिलता है. बट द क्वेश्चन दैट विल ऑल्सो अराइज दैट कि अगर उसके बाद आप बेचते हैं तो कौन सा कट ऑफ डेट लिया जाएगा फॉर होल्डिंग पीरियड, दैट विल ऑल्सो बिकम इंपॉर्टेंट. सो यू कैन नॉट हैव बोथ वेज कि ये तो आपको जब दे रहा तब लेंगे और उसके बाद से काउंट. सो दैट पार्ट ऑल्सो विल हैव अ सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ इंटरप्रिटेशनल इशू व्हिच शुड बी केप्ट इन माइंड.
So, but if I'm not wrong, if Section 53A of Transfer of Property Act, part performance of the contract, has the builder performed his part of the contract by not giving the possession of the premises? I may be wrong, sir, in asking you this question. No, he is not. Yeah, he is not part performance.
I will answer. First, I will agree to what sir has said, but for your interest, I will take a different view. Subject to sir not changing the view, but I am taking. So first, let's go. First, you are holding a capital asset.
Right.
Then second aspect is what is your holding period. Now there are lot of interpretation, judgments are there, allotment letter, registration date, possession. These are the 3 factors are there.
Even payments, substantial payments.
Substantial payment. Now if you will see 50C, 5610, Roman, different sections have itself provided where your date of agreement and your date of registration are 2 separate. Then what date has to be taken for arriving at the consideration? If my agreement date is prior and I have paid some amount by consideration and I have arrived at that value, then date of registration should not be taken. So courts have looked at various decisions and said that allotment date has to be done because on that day I have paid the consideration and ultimately my registration may have taken place subsequently, but the conditions what is there on me, on my part of payment I have done, the condition on the builder's part to give me possession he has done. So allotment date has also been taken for the purpose of calculating the holding period. Please understand, we are now looking at 54F. These are exemption provision. If you will read series of judgment, courts have always taken a liberal view.
Right.
So if a particular SSC is required to interpret this, that allotment letter has to be taken, they have taken allotment letter. Recently, Mumbai Tribunal, which was reported in some newspaper also, just forgot the name, they have taken the date of possession of the old property. Why? Because that 1 year period prior to, they wanted to make an interpretation. So they have interpreted in that way also.
Correct.
But if you remove those decisions and independently, one more point. Just sir also has touched upon, when you are buying a flat in the under construction company, relying on the DDA circular and the old decision of Hila Wadia, Bombay High Court and other decision, what's the tribunal is, when you go for purchase of an under construction property from a builder, you fall within the period of 3 years, 54, because you are buying, you are not purchasing, but you are constructing. Now please look in the new regime of RERA or MOFA. The agreement specifically specifies that developer is the person who is going to construct. The developer is going to take the sanctions. He is the person who is going to take the permissions. Can we say that we are constructing? I had a very peculiar case where I didn't want it to fall in construction because in my agreement, as sir said, it is already mentioned 2024 he is registered that the possession will be given in 2029. I didn't want it to fall in the word construction, but I wanted to fall in the definition of purchase. I am fulfilling, I have allotment, I have paid by check, I have registered agreement. When I registered the agreement, I am become the owner. The builder now cannot sell. I can ask for specific performance of contract.
Yeah, that's right.
If I have a allotment letter, I may go to the court. Court may say return his money with interest, go out. Builder doesn't want to pay. But when you get a registered, then you have a specific performance of contract, and thereby, can I say that I have purchased the property? So these are the two different dimensions I am saying. Depending upon certain cases and different interpretation, you can also have these views. Because nowadays, because of RERA in place, because under RERA, you can correct me, sir, we cannot take consideration more than 10 or 20% without 10% without registration.
Yeah.
Under RERA, you tell me which developer will just give you allotment letter 10% and he will sit. Then first, after the first installment, he will ask you to register. Once you register the document, everything is mentioned in that. It will be mentioned that your possession will be nowadays the projects which are coming are big projects. Possession will definitely be after 3 years. So you cannot comply with the condition of 3 years. Now in such a situation, if you fall within the definition of construction, the term construction, you are out of the exemption limit. So here now people will start arguing, no, by registering a document, by getting, I have purchased the flat. And it cannot be that I am constructing the flat. So these are some different dimensions also. Just I am putting it. Though I said all the earlier decisions, which are 54 exemptions are there, are giving liberal interpretation.
Yeah, another one or two questions. Anybody else? You have any questions? Participants?
Hello. One
Income tax, GST.
One GST related
Yeah.
question. लीजोल्ड लैंड पे बंगलो है, वो डेवलपर को सेल करते हैं तो लैंडलॉर्ड को क्या जीएसटी कलेक्ट करना पड़ता है? क्योंकि जैसे एमआईडीसी वाले प्लॉट्स में फर्दर सेल के लिए जीएसटी कलेक्ट किया जाता है, तो बंगलो के लिए भी ऐसा ही सिचुएशन है?
If you are selling the bungalow, and a bungalow is you are saying it is a bungalow.
Yeah.
The bungalow is your personal property. You are not selling in the course or furtherance of a business. So even if the leasehold right you are transferring, you are not transferring in course or furtherance of a business. So on that count it will be out, Karine. But if it's a bungalow owner, you are saying, I will be getting 40% flats, another thing, then you are acting in the capacity of a businessman. So that, if you are selling, pure selling, then in my view, transfer of the leasehold rights will not be taxable. Even in this case, in MIDC case that you have said, we are suggesting the planning to the client, because stamp duty is also assessed like that. If you are having the superstructure, the value of the superstructure has been worked out separately for stamp duty, and the land ka leasehold right ka, it has been worked out separately. So as far as the superstructure value is concerned, you can say I have sold the building. In India we have the concept of land can belong to somebody else, superstructure can belong to you. So the sale of building, that will be out of the tax, Karine. And I am talking of MIDC lease,
Yeah.
And the leasehold land, as of now the law stands today. I don't have the time, otherwise I would explain you. It is liable to GST, and basically there is a Gujarat High Court. The REIT has been filed by the SLP. REIT has been filed by the assessees. But unless and until the act is amended, because right in the land is not a land. What is excluded is only sale of land, and only owner can sell the land. As a leasehold lessee,
I am currently handling cases where MIDC plots have been transferred by the original lessee to the third parties, and new parties. And MIDC has allowed that. MIDC has charged premium on that, and initially GST was not paid on the premium by the third party, because agreement was like that premium will be paid by the third party to the MIDC. So I advise them that the GST on premium amount which has been paid to MIDC, that you have to pay. So they paid it. Now on the whole value of the land, another letter has come asking for GST at the rate of 18%. Now a stamp duty has been paid on the land value. Okay. And MIDC in the original lease deed allows it, and it is a lease deed of 99 years. Now under Transfer of Property Act, a sale of property can be made not only through outright sale, through a long-term lease, more than 30 years it says, and it is a 99 years. There also, if the title in the property is transferred, then it amounts to sale only. Then it will be outside the scope of GST.
It will not attract GST.
But But the department is saying that in Schedule 2 there is a word that goods and services, any lease, tenancy or right to occupy will be treated as a service. Now the gentleman has paid a stamp duty on that. The stamp duty is paid only on immovable property. So once it is an immovable property and the title has moved from the assigner, it is through an assignment deed, from the assigner to the assignee, how come then it be treated as a lease? So I am fighting on that. Time will tell whether I succeed or not.
Even on the sale of under construction plate, you are paying the stamp duty. So can you take the position कि इस पे stamp duty भरा है तो हम GST नहीं भरेंगे sir? तो both are exclusive sir.
See, there is enough provision provided under the law. You are forgetting that under Schedule 2 there is 5B. See, I have been dealing with these demands on commercial of renting of commercial properties and this construction of house residential and commercial. When long back in 2004 and 5 these taxes were levied on construction service. Finally, in 2010, as a compromise in Supreme Court, when the Supreme Court has in Bata India given the decision, then the law has been changed and it says that there is a legal fiction. I call it legal fiction, that the same thing which is treated as a service till the first possession is handed over or till the OC is given, it remains a service. But the day first possession is taken, it becomes an immovable property. That is the legal fiction provided under 5B. And under Schedule 3, the serial number 5 says that these activities are outside GST, sale of land and sale of buildings subject to 5B of Schedule 2. So Schedule 2 clearly says that once the property has been is ready and first person has occupied or OC has been given, it is immovable property. It is no more construction service. Construction element, the service element goes out from
Correct,
there.
correct. Thank you very much.